a topic that's been really light for us lately because there hasn't been a whole lot of content coming out of this. Actually, most of the news that's come out of this particular franchise as of late has been bad due to like cancellations and things of that nature. But we have the first episode of the Book of Boba Fett, the new Star Wars series on Disney Plus. So it's over there on Disney Plus if you want to give that a shot. The Book of Boba Fett a shot. Episode 1 was written by Nerd Jesus Jon Favreau and directed by Robert Rodriguez, who's returning from successful stints of The Mandalorian. The first episode gave us some much needed backstory into how Boba Fett actually escaped the Sarlacc pit and what happened to him when he did, as well as current day in which he is trying to rebuild or reclaim the crime empire that was once ran by Jabba the Hutt on Tatooine. So what did you think of episode 1 of the Book of Boba Fett, which I have to say is kind of a lame name? But anyway, I digress.
The name is a little lame. I understand it because they're giving you like backstory and things like that. I mean, so we come into this and we're like, we're thinking Mandalorian. I mean, we just are, because that show's incredible. I thought this first episode was good. Wasn't great by any means. It definitely, for only 38 minutes, I thought I was watching something longer. It didn't grab me as much as I wanted to. The last 5 minutes were really cool. A lot of action, and like you get to see like what Boba Fett actually brings to the table. But it wasn't a lot of like, I don't know, like the Mandalorian, we always talk about like was able to like bring that plot, but also bring that action. Like almost every time you needed action, you got it. Every time you needed a plot, you got it. And it was just, to me, this was almost, and we just talked about plot, but like this was almost too plot heavy. And like, I just kind of got lost in it. It felt, and we respect the guys that are doing this show a lot, but it felt like it was trying too hard because it knew what it was going up against with like people wanting to say it compared to The Mandalorian. It's like, I liked it fine. And like, this is not going to detract me from watching it, not just because of the show, but it's like, I love this character and I love Star Wars, but it was just The Mandalorian, that first episode, season 1, episode 1, threw us in and we were like, let's go. This was not as much of a let's go for me. It's just like, let's wait and see what happens. And I think it doesn't really detract my expectations for the show, though. I will say that it doesn't take me back and be like, this show won't be awesome. I think it was cool that we, like with The Mandalorian, we didn't need a backstory so much as that we just kind of like, here, we're just throwing you into this. The backstory was important in this. And sometimes when you get a backstory in anything, it's a little slow, or, it's like, I hate to compare this, but it's like, it's not even a show I like so much, but it's something when like, I haven't watched a show in 20 plus years, but I remember like Friends would go back and have like an episode where it'd be like young Chandler or something like that. I might even be wrong, but it could just be like that memory thing. But it's like, it goes back and show you like Chandler before he met Ross and Joey and stuff like that. And to me, it was like those episodes I never liked that much, because it's like, well, I want to see the gang back together more than I want to see all this other stuff. And so this felt like that, where it was like, it was a lot of like, okay, we're just getting kind of like background, but nothing actually happening. And that was slightly disappointing, but it still, my excitement level didn't change. It was just this first episode was just slightly disappointing for me.
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit different of mind with you on that. I think, just kind of stepping away from this series for a second, this series, when everything was kind of announced at the end of Mandalorian season 2, where it was like, okay, we're going to get an Ahsoka series, we're going to get Rangers of the New Republic, which has since been canceled, we're going to get Boba Fett, we're going to get this. Boba Fett was honestly the one that I had the most trepidation about. And the reason why is because that's kind of a really mysterious character. He doesn't say a lot. He's not in A New Hope. He's not in, he's a kid in Attack of the Clones. He's in Empire for a little bit. He's in Jedi at the beginning. We've talked about it before. He goes out like a bitch in Jedi. But it almost seems like maybe George Lucas underestimated how popular that character could be, because you wonder, had he understood the popularity of that particular character or that particular persona, would he have written that differently? And so I think that in a sense, he kind of tried to amend that with the prequel stuff and how Boba Fett's a clone of Jango Fett and things of that nature. But I think one of the things that's always been appealing about this character is we don't know much about him. You know, we know he's a bounty hunter. Okay. We know he wears Mandalorian armor. Okay. What else do we know he's got a badass looking ship. Outside of that, we don't know much about this character. And so I had trepidations because part of me was like, maybe I don't want to know anymore. And after seeing this, I felt like I would have been just totally fine with just backstory, like not even new stuff, not even what he's up to now after, you know, he comes in and he came in season 2 of The Mandalorian like the Undertaker into the Royal Rumble and just cleaned house. I don't necessarily need more of that, but I am interested because once he showed up, the immediate question that everybody had that didn't get answered was, well, how the hell did he escape? So we got that. And then it was kind of like, then it becomes kind of, well, how did he lose his armor? Okay, well, how did he survive on Tatooine for all these years? Because it's 5 years after. Mandalorian takes place 5 years after Jedi. And then it was kind of like, well, how did he get his armor back? Where's his ship been the whole time? So I would have been just fine with just learning all of that stuff. I will say, as far as the new stuff goes, Ming-Na Wen, who plays Fennec Shand, she's a smoke show. And I think she's very, very easy on the eyes. But also the parkour scene where she was chasing the two guys who tried to, you know, beat them up or whatever, kill them in the streets. That was really cool action. That was really cool. Yeah. It was cool. Yeah. And then at the end where he kind of slays the monster, like you said, it shows us a little bit we know. But I think that that's kind of how this series is going to roll. It's 7 episodes long, at least for the first few. I think we're going to get this sort of split timeline where it shows us how he got to where he got to versus what's going on now. And I think that as long as that's not like the whole way through, I think that that would be fine. If it's just like another couple episodes and then we focus on where we're at now. The other thing is too, it's like, you know, there's going to eventually be a big cameo, and who's that going to be? You know, I mean, we talked about it a little bit about, you know, allegedly Harrison Ford had filmed some Star Wars scenes. So it's on the table that it could be Han, but I feel like if you don't get, you have to have Han, you have to have Chewie. So I'm hoping for the tandem.
Well, yeah, I think you have to have that.
Yeah.
I will say, I don't actually disagree with the fact that, like, if it was just background, I think because they fused the two, that's actually where I got like, that's where it kind of took me away. But like I said, I'm not upset about this at all. Like, it's going to be, it was just like,
it was kind of slow. It was kind
of slow. And it's like, but I don't think with who we have behind it.
Right.
And what we know we got from Mandalorian, which we agree is like one of our favorite shows in a very long time. I'm not nervous. This is not to sway me from, like, next week. It'll still be like the first thing I watch and all that stuff. So yeah,
I agree. So Book of Boba Fett, like we said, Disney Plus episode 1, check it out.